Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I want to talk about The Acolyte because I know I know this show has been getting insane amounts of backlash. People have been disliking that trailer so much. I think it's the most disliked Star Wars trailer to date. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about Leslye Headland, the showrunner, why the show has been getting all this backlash, what I think about it, and all that stuff. First off, I don't agree with some of the criticism, and by that I mean, do I think the show is going to be an amazing Star Wars show? No, I don't think it's going to be an amazing Star Wars show. Did I like the trailer? If you guys didn't watch my trailer reaction, go check it out. But I liked the trailer. I thought the trailer was cool. Was it George Lucas Star Wars? No. Here's the thing. Anything that comes out now, it's not canon. It's not canon. So I don't get why people are trying to fit it into lore. Like they're taking the clip from the Jedi Council, the dude with the long hand, I forgot the guy's name, taking a line from what he said, saying the Sith haven't been seen for millennia, and trying to say, hey, look, why are there Sith in here in the show? Because the show takes place before the prequels, and they're trying to find contradictions within the lore. This is Disney Star Wars, okay? It's not canon. Disney Star Wars is not canon. George Lucas Star Wars is the only canon. That's it. That's it. So don't stop trying to pick holes. Stop trying to find faults within canon, within lore, because it's not canon. Who cares? Just, is it a good show? Is it a bad show? At this point, honestly, I mean, I get why people can get mad at stuff like that, right? Because I mean, we care about Star Wars. We're invested in it, but that's not, especially with this story, because it's not like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It's his brand new characters, brand new story, brand new everything. With the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, you're literally bringing back Obi-Wan Kenobi and you're doing him dirty. So that's very different. I don't think this show is going to be as bad as, let's say, Rise of Skywalker, because the Rise of Skywalker spat on the lore. It completely disrespected Anakin Skywalker, the whole chosen one. It disrespected George Lucas. This, I don't think it can do as much, because it's telling, yes, it's in Star Wars, so it can disrespect Star Wars. It can disrespect what Star Wars is, how it feels, and all that stuff. But it can't do anything too specific, like, because it doesn't have characters involved in it, But that said, let's check out this clip right here.
This is like what we understand to be Star Wars, like the idea that like that only came from George Lucas, that only George Lucas holds the key for what we understand to be Star Wars is just untrue.
Here's the thing. George Lucas is the only one that holds the key. He is the creator of Star Wars. He is the only one that holds the key. If he says Jar Jar Binks is the Sith Lord and the ultimate villain of the Star Wars universe, that's what it is. If you hate the prequel trilogy, too bad, because that's what it is. You know what I mean? George Lucas holds the key. He's the creator of Star Wars. If you like it, if you don't like it, too bad. I mean, whatever he says goes, which is why I really would like to know what's in his head, what he considers canon. Like, I know there's got to be portions of the Clone Wars that he doesn't consider canon, right? So, because he wanted Ahsoka to die. So I want to know what his head canon is. I really would like to know that.
And I think the prequels are an excellent example of that. I mean, but
this is another thing where I think people are upset. She just dissed George Lucas. She just dissed the prequels. And you are creating a story set before the prequels. You're creating a Star Wars show and you just diss the prequels. These are the reasons why I think people are mad. And probably her, and not probably, 100%, her mindset, her ideology. They don't want that to be, people don't want that in Star Wars. Yes, you can have your own opinions, your own ideology, your own politics, but don't let that seep into Star Wars. And what we're seeing more and more is directors and writers can't help but let their own personal ideologies and opinions infiltrate their work. Obviously, your inspiration is going to come from your own personal experiences and all that stuff. So your beliefs are definitely going to find their way in. But the thing is, you're creating a story within a universe that has already been created that is not yours. So you need to respect it. You can't say stuff like that. It's not yours. If you want to go and tell your own story and do something like that, that's fine. But you're telling a story that somebody you're telling a story within a universe that somebody created. So you got to respect that.
You look at McQuarrie's work and you realize like what an indelible mark this man has made on culture via this one role that he played in this film, and the idea that like when you're hiring a director, that everyone is sitting in there waiting for George Lucas and not for the person who's going to know to hire Ralph McQuarrie. That's the problem. That's the misogyny and
What, misogyny? That's what I'm talking about. Is their mindset, the ideology. Do you want somebody like that directing and writing for Star Wars? Because I don't want that type of ideology in Star Wars. Okay, if you can separate the two, I'm fine. That's fine. Have your own personal beliefs. I can disagree with you. If you can separate the two, just make sure you respect Star Wars for what it is.
the problem with the auteur myth as it stands.
I don't want identity
today.
politics
because they're
in
not
Star Wars.
thinking this is the person that will hire the right people, and this is the person that will be able to create the lookbooks and direct people to get them to that place. They're just thinking, do you have all the answers? And the truth is that nobody does, and anybody that says they do is lying. You know.
So I get what she's trying to say. I get where she's coming from, but she's teetering a fine line there. You can't disrespect George Lucas. You can't disrespect what Star Wars is. Okay. This is another one of the bigger causes for the backlash, right? She hired a writer that has not even seen Star Wars. And/or creator Tony Gilroy proved that you don't necessarily have to be a lifelong Star Wars fan to be able to be a great Star Wars storyteller. Well, that's the reason why Andor didn't feel anything like Star Wars. Was it a cool story? Was it a cool show? Yeah, I liked it. Did it feel like Star Wars? Did it feel like George Lucas Star Wars? No. And I'm fine with that because you're not going to get back. We're not going to get that George Lucas Star Wars. So might as well do something without disrespecting George and Star Wars and do something different. Okay? Because it's not canon anyways. So I thought you made a wise choice by having varied writers, a varied writers' room with fans of different eras, and then someone who never flocked to it at all. Yeah, this is Leslye talking now. Yeah, I just thought it would be good to have the perspective of a person that had literally never seen Star Wars until she was in the room. Okay, this is where people are like, what is happening? Why are we hiring people who don't know Star Wars to write Star Wars? And if you're looking at the big picture, I totally agree. Because we've been having people involved in Star Wars that have no clue what Star Wars is. We've been having people involved in so many other franchises that have no clue what these franchises are about, what these characters are about, telling actors to don't read source material because they want to do something completely different. Okay? So I get where the concern is coming from, okay? But if you look at this in isolation here, it's not that big of a deal. Let me keep reading. And she said to me, "Why do you want me in this room? I've never seen Star Wars. I have no idea. I think there's a dog in it, but I don't know anything." So the writer herself was like, "Why am I here? I don't get it." So let's see what Leslye had to say. And I was like, first of all, you're an incredible writer, and that's why I want you here. I want you to be questioning narrative. I don't want myself, who's a lifelong fan, to just be relying on particular references in order to create emotional beats. I want those emotional beats to be earned and checked by someone that isn't super familiar with it. I think that's a good idea. And it's not like the entire writer's room hasn't seen Star Wars. It's only one writer. And you don't want, like she said, the emotional beats to all be drawn from nostalgia. Or, hey, look, I know that character. Hey, look, I know this, right? You don't want that nostalgia to be driving the emotion throughout the entire show, because it should be able to, like, if you didn't watch Star Wars before and you watch this show, it should be a good show. The storytelling should be good, okay? It shouldn't be like, hey, I'm a Star Wars fan, therefore I'm biased and I want to like it as a Star Wars show, and therefore I'm going to like it because it's got lightsabers and Jedi, you know? So having someone who has not seen Star Wars be able to critique it from that angle, I think is a good idea. It's not like the entire show is written by somebody who doesn't know anything about Star Wars. This is another perspective I want to show you guys because I think it will give a slightly different perspective than what we see in all these headlines.
I would go even one step further and say, like, listen, I think just because my show is technically, yes, female-centric, meaning it centers around a female protagonist, like, I don't think that necessarily excludes men from that space. I think that, like, you know, listen, I relate to male characters all the time, you know, like, I root for Mando, like, I root for Luke.
So I agree with what she said. A lot of times you hear these writers and directors come in and say, the Star Wars franchise has been filled with only straight white males and nobody else can relate to what's going on, and I need to be represented on screen for me to relate and have an emotional connection and all that stuff. She didn't say that. She said she relates to Luke Skywalker. She relates to the male figures, right? So she's inviting everybody along and saying, hey, I'm not really doing that this time around. We're not going with a male main character. We're going with a female main character. So it's a female-centric show. But anybody can watch because you can relate to the character. Just like I relate to Luke, you can relate to whoever this is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But does that mean the show is going to be 100% A-okay? No, obviously not. The show could be really bad, but from what I'm seeing, she doesn't seem as bad as people are making her out to be. Maybe I'm just not finding the right articles or the right videos, or I don't know her work extensively. So if you guys know more information about the showrunner, Leslye Headland, let me know down below in the comment section. But I think the main gripe that people have is she talks a lot about her own personal ideology, and they just don't want that infiltrating Star Wars. I mean, it already has. It's too late. And I think people are just so upset with what they've done to Star Wars and what they've done to so many other franchises, and they're just taking it out on this show because it's the latest thing. Because if you're looking at straight up the plot, the trailer, the content of what we've been getting, her ideas for the show, just the story-wise, I think they're fine. I don't think any of that is bad. But it's just the fear that, hey, we might be going down a path that we don't want to continue to go down. I think she's also said some stuff about wanting to tell a queer story, right? I have no interest in seeing a queer story, but she's also mentioned Frozen being something that she as a queer person could relate to. Frozen has nothing like that in it. I like Frozen. Frozen's an awesome movie. Maybe it was just because Elsa didn't have any real love interest. So maybe the Acolyte, we're not gonna get a Leia and Han type of story. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's just not gonna be focused on relationships. I mean, that's cool. That's fine. And maybe that makes it more relatable to someone like her, right? Because you're not focusing on a heterosexual relationship. But I mean, that's just so minute. Like, who cares? Okay. So as long as we tell a good story that's respectful to the lore, that's respectful to Star Wars and George Lucas, I'm fine. Will she be respectful to the lore, Star Wars and George Lucas and all that? I don't know. But I do think that the criticism is overinflated. The emotions are overinflated. To wrap it all up, like I said in the beginning, do I think it's going to be an amazing Star Wars show? No, I don't. When's the last time Disney Star Wars has put out something absolutely amazing? You know what I mean? They're not going to recapture that George Lucas magic. So I'm not expecting something absolutely amazing. But am I expecting it to be the worst thing? The worst Star Wars project ever? No, I don't think it's going to be that bad based off of what I've seen so far. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think about this? If you are on the hate train for the show, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your reasons why down below. And if you are looking forward to the show, if you're liking what you're seeing so far, let me know also. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.